When I sing it, I'm not alone." The line rolled off Jungkook's lips, not as part of the lyrics, but rather as a confession that shocked the world. In a moment that seems to be detached from the scenario and the stage, the youngest member of BTS conveys something deeper than tone and rhythm, a feeling that has been hidden, settling in his most emotional solo song, Still With You. Since its release in June 2020, Still With You has become more than just a solo song. He is a reminder of calm in the midst of chaos, a comforter in solitude, and an antidote to longing in difficult times. But who knows that behind the soft notes, a figure is hidden that so strongly influenced the singer's creative process. A figure that, until now, is still shrouded in mystery. In a previously unannounced interview, Jungkook finally opened the veil. Not just talking about general inspiration or universal themes, but touching the personal realms that has not been touched by the media. With dim but keen eyes, he mentioned, "I never mentioned who he was. But every time I sing Still With You, that person always comes to mind." The confession became a detonator of emotions that thrilled millions of listeners. Is this song a love letter? An unfinished memory? Or a silent message to someone he can't see anymore? Still With You was written and released in the early days of the pandemic, when the world seemed to stop. For many, the song became a representation of separation, uncertainty, and silent hope. But for Jungkook, it was an overflow of the deepest silence. "I wrote it at night. It's just me and my shadow," he said. The voice not only describes the creative process, but also implies an intimacy that is rarely shared by a star of his class. In the lyrics, we can hear the whisper of emotions. "On this lonely night, I walked alone." The lyrics now sound heavier, more personal, and more touching after Jungkook's confession. Many fans began to reinterpret the song. Is it about someone who's gone? About lost love? Or maybe about someone very close, but separated by a wall of fame and reality? When asked further about who the figure was, Jungkook replied briefly but excitedly, "I think he knew the song was for him." The phrase is not just teasing curiosity, but is like conveying love in its quietest form, love that is not called, but exists. A love that does not need loud confessions, because it lives between the verses of the song. The reaction of the fans was very emotional. Thousands wrote on social media that they felt the song now spoke directly to them. "I feel like I can understand the unspoken sense of longing," wrote one fan from India. "Now, every time I listen to him, I feel like I'm sharing a secret with Jungkook," said another from Turkey. The response from fellow BTS members was no less moving. RM, who is known as a leader and close friend of Jungkook, said that he cried when he first heard the demo of the song. "You have to release it," he said. "The world needs to hear what you have to say." Suga also made a similar comment, calling Still With You one of the most honest works ever created by the group's members. The magical power of Still With You lies in its ability to belong to everyone while remaining deeply personal. The song is like a silent space where anyone can enter and fill in their own meaning. But after Jungkook's confession, that meaning became sharper and more tangible. It is not just a song, but a memory immortalized in the form of a melody. What stood out the most was the moment when Jungkook, at the end of his interview, looked at the camera and said, "If that person listens to the song, I hope he knows I haven't stopped waiting for him." Not only did the statement make fans cry, but it also made Still With You a symbol of something bigger than just romantic love. It's about hope that never dies. Media from various countries competed to translate his quotes. Fan comments flooded the internet, not a few claiming to hear the song while imagining their own long-gone figure parent, spouse, best friend, or even a lost part of themselves. Music journalists from France write, "This song is sung like a prayer, and we all feel like part of that prayer." Some critics call Still With You the most honest work ever released by a boy group member in the last decade. It's not designed to go viral. It is born of a wound, and precisely because of it, it feels sincere. Now, the song has become part of the important moments in the lives of his fans. Used in video memories, farewell events, tributes, even in therapy rooms. Still With You doesn't just touch the heart, it heals it. It's not just about who Jungkook thinks, it's also about who millions of people think when they listen to him. However, the mystery remains a mystery. Who is the person who comes to Jungkook's mind when he sings it? Although his identity has not been revealed, his impact has reached the world. Perhaps, as Jungkook said, it doesn't need to be answered. The important thing is that the feeling he carries in his song has found a place in the hearts of many, and in a world full of noise, this silent recognition through song, through lyrics, through a soft voice, is the loudest. Still With You. Still here, and like a whisper that never fades, Still With You continues to sing. But now a big question arises. Is everything we've heard real? Or are we part of a narrative deliberately constructed to evoke emotion and generate sympathy? As Jungkook's statement about the meaning behind the song, Still With You, goes increasingly viral, the public sphere is filled with various speculations, in-depth analyses, even conspiracy theories. Some fans fully believe the interview and consider Jungkook's confession to be the most honest expression ever revealed by a K-pop idol. However, others begin to wonder, did all this really come from Jungkook himself? Or is it merely a narrative fabrication skillfully packaged by the media, label, or even agency to create a deeper emotional bond with the public? It is important to note that the circulating information about Jungkook's emotional confession comes from various channels: TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, X, and online media that often quote without clear context. Several video clips, interview excerpts, and even text quotes are widely spread, but to what extent has the authenticity and completeness of the material been verified? This is where we need to pause and ask, are we enjoying a sincere piece of art? Or are we being led through a carefully crafted drama? Are we touching Jungkook's honesty? Or just trapped in an emotional scenario designed to increase digital exposure and interaction? This reflection is not intended to question Jungkook's integrity as an artist, but rather to encourage audiences not to be entirely swept away in an emotional current without critical thinking. It is an invitation to recognize that in the entertainment world, not everything that appears natural always arises organically. Let's consider, why is this confession emerging now? Why has the so-called mysterious figure never been clarified more concretely? Are those emotional statements truly from an official interview, or merely fragments of fan-made content later treated as fact? And beyond that, why do we so badly want to believe? These questions open the way for healthier discussion. When someone speaks of longing and loss through a song, the public tends to respond emotionally, and that's natural. But in a digital era full of misinformation, we also need to develop metacognitive reflection, a consciousness about how and why we believe something. Don't forget that such narratives are easily manipulated. Jungkook's voice can be edited, his expression reframed, interview context shifted. Even trusted sources could be anonymous accounts going viral on TikTok or Reddit. So, how far are we ready to filter fact from fiction? We can appreciate the work Still With You without using it as a base for wild speculation. The song is beautiful because it touches universal feelings: longing, love, loss. But when interpreted literally and personally, are we not erasing the line between artist and manipulative public consumption? Then, is it possible that this is a new form of storytelling in the music industry? We know personal narratives are highly effective in building fan loyalty. In the K-pop world, emotional branding is nothing new.